the rotary cutter is fantastic for anything that's A0 or below. What happens when you've got something this big though? This isn't going to go onto the rotary cutter in any way at all. This is 2 meters long. So what I want to do is show you how I would reduce this to the strip of photograph in the middle. Okay, and this has got to be done very carefully. Okay, we don't cut anywhere in the building. Don't use any table you find. Okay, we've got two tables at the end of the CAD suite near the plotters, and these are old desks, but we're going to use these as large cutting areas. Okay, so cutting and folding, you need some space to lay things out. So that's what these Formica covered tables are for. So they've got nice smooth tops. They'll get damaged. You can already see some damage on this table, but you know, we can't do this any other way. Don't use the floor. We don't want large shapes cut out of the carpet. Don't use the lino in the studio. Use these large tables in the CAD suite for any very big cutting that you need to do. Okay, so normally we would advise using a safety ruler, but that's a bit awkward when you're trying to maintain a very long straight line. Okay, so what I've got here is a stainless steel rule, a meter rule, and I'm going to use that very carefully to get along the edge of this large printout. Okay, as far as cutting tools go, you've got a choice. You've got a craft knife, or perhaps a scalpel. So let's just have a look at these two devices before we start using them. Okay, so let's start by having a look at the craft knife. Okay, now this small device here is for locking the knife in position. So when this is pulled back, it's locked. When it's forward, it's movable. When you get the knife extended, which should usually just be to this amount, okay, don't have the knife sitting out like this. It could snap and cause injury. Okay, so it's supposed to sit like this. Okay, now these blades are meant to be replaced. When you buy a knife, you may find that there's spare blades already inside it. They usually you pull off the back end of the knife and you'll find 1 or 2 spare blades inside. Okay, this is also your snapper. This is meant for snapping the end of the blade off. So when it's blunt, and this is showing a fair bit of wear, so I'm going to snap off one portion. So you extend the knife until you see a line which is pre-scored, ready for you to snap. Okay, you can lock it there if you want, it might be safer. The back of the snapper has got a thin groove on it. That goes on the blade. Just hold tight, don't be scared, and just snap. Okay, spare blade just fell out the back head. That wasn't very clever. Okay, if you need to replace a blade, then you can usually pull it outwards fully. So once you're down to the very last portion, let's say that one's spent, we get a fresh blade. Okay, slide it into the holder. You may have to support it a little bit. There's a small raised circle here that goes into the back of the blade, and just push it in until it starts to click again. Okay, and remember to put back on your holder and lock it in the safe position. So we've got a very, very good, clean, sharp blade. Blunt blades are the dangerous ones. Sharp blades will be safer. Okay, obviously they're sharper, they'll cut easier, but it's the pressure and the blunt blade causes accidents. Okay, scalpels are a bit different. Okay, these are a bit trickier to change the blades on. They're not meant to just use them once and throw them away. They're meant to have the blade changed. So this blade's showing a fair bit of wear, so let's pretend that's how I bought it. Okay, what we do is you need to push with one finger. Can you see it lifting up slightly? You push that upwards slightly and then pull the blade forwards and it lifts it off. Okay, I'll show you that again. Tilt it up with your one finger, pull the blade forward. Okay. Old blades are to be put in a blade receptacle. They don't just go in any bin. They can cause injuries to cleaners and anybody else going to retrieve something from a bin. So spent blades are still dangerous. They go in a proper blades bin. So let's have a look at a couple of spare blades. Okay, they usually come in packets. This is one out of a packet. So we've got a couple of blades in here. They actually look like old ones, and I'm not going to put one of those on. I think I've just wrapped up a couple of old blades there. Okay. So new blade just goes on, and listen for the click. You should hear a little click. He says, no click. No click happening there today. Let's try that again, see if it'll click. Sort of a click. See if this one clicks. Now that was a bit more definite. Got a definite kind of catch there, ready to use. Okay, so scalpels are great. Obviously, for model making, they're ideal. For what we're going to do here, you could use a scalpel or a craft knife. So just be careful with blades, obviously. This is a packet of spare blades for the craft knife. Okay, and these are coming in a nice kind of holder. There's quite a lot of oil on these to stop them rusting, but it can make them a bit sticky and a bit difficult to pull apart. So you can see my fingers are a bit oily. Okay, so be careful. We've had lots of accidents with blades over the years. We want to try and avoid them as much as we can. My cutting device and my ruler, and I'm just going to work carefully along this line. Now, if we're wanting any damage to the paper to happen on the white area, not the photograph, so your ruler, make sure it's clean. Don't just put a dirty ruler on top of your expensive printout. Okay, and I want to do as much of a cut in one go as I can. Okay, watch for the end of the table. The end of the table's here, so you don't want to go over a bump. Okay, so what I do is put my blade exactly on the edge of the photograph, gives me something to stop the ruler against, and then I'm only having to line up one end of the ruler. Okay, so try and just see a tiny bit of the printout. We're just going to leave about 1/4 of a millimeter. So watch out for the fingers. Okay, don't try and do that in one go because the ruler will move in. Okay, we'll do it in a few bits. Okay, don't press on too hard. The blade should do the work. The blade should be sharp enough to deal with the paper. So run along. So that's about 300 millimeters. Move along. Do the next 300 millimeters. Keep the ruler pinned down. Do the next 300 millimeters. Okay, my blade just caught something underneath the table there. Okay, so it's veered off, but it's veered off on the white side, not on the photograph side. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Got a tiny bit of white showing there. So I'm just going to put it back and just trim that off. Okay, you don't have to keep this. If you want to, you can take that away. It just makes the paper more manageable. Okay. Bring it along. And do second cut. Okay, ruler on the edge of the photo. Carefully line up and then start your cutting. Don't be in too much of a hurry. Take your time. Prints are expensive. You don't want to have to print again. So I'm just moving very carefully along the ruler, trying to keep that ruler in position. Now I could carry on now. I think I'm going to go to the end of the paper this time. and finish the cut. Okay, that bit's already cut, so I'm from about here. Whoops, veered off again. So let's get in a bit closer, try and get back on cut. Okay, anything showing there? Okay, there's a wee bit rough in that area there. So I'm just going to slice a little slither off, just a little slither. Okay, I could swap over and cut on the other side, or I could turn the work around, but it's easier if I just go around and cut this way. Okay, so do exactly the same. Set the ruler on the edge of the photograph. Okay, start your cut very slowly. It's cutting, it's loose. Okay, so try and find where we're up to. It's about here. Nice and slowly, don't press on too hard. Let the blade do the work. Keep those fingertips out of the way. Okay, it can't go any further. Okay, so let's lose that bit. Okay. Another spot to do. Peel the ruler off. Okay, set your knife first. Line up your ruler. Okay. Slowly does it. $300mm at a time. This hand needs a fair bit of pressure, this one not so much. Okay, final portion. Set your blade first, and then find the edge. Okay, may as well just take the white bit off at the end. So exactly the same way. Okay, careful this time, you're cutting towards yourself, so take it easy. You don't want that knife to go into your leg. Okay. Over this side. Cutting away from myself this time, so it's a bit safer. That's it. One big long print, lovely and cleanly cut. Okay, you just cannot do that on the other machines. Hand cutting is the only option there. It's got to be done very carefully. Unlock your blade, retract it, and finished. Cutting mats, extremely useful. Quite a few scattered around the building. Please don't use normal desks just for cutting. Use a mat.